Retro Hangover is supported via Patreon by listeners like you. We would especially like to thank patrons Lyle McCarnes, Tony G, Tom the Superhero, Stud Still Smash the Milkman, Lucas from Game Over Hell, Mast Keaton, Ozzy Garcia, JC, Megan Caruso, Dave Jackson, Jenny E, Retro Overdrive, Soha, The Emperor, Storm Beagle, Matt aka Stormageddon, Van Fertile, and B. Ross from Super Garbage Day, Jared Brayland, Randall Quiggle, Raging Demon, Keith Gasper, The Retro Vixen, Eric Guess, Nomad from the Retro Wildlands Podcast, Ash Event, Alan Bingham, Mike the Ref from Backbreaker Gaming, Alt, Gary Heather, Low5 Alex, Oh Me, Makeshift Money, Sega Boy 7, Riskel, and Adam R. Your continued engagement and generous donations are deeply appreciated.
Open your ears and crack some beers. You are listening to the most recent episode of Retro Hangover. Retro and classic gamers, welcome to the podcast where we sulkingly solve stupendous silliness superbly sounding salient. This is Retro Hangover. I am your co-host, Chris Copleen, with, as always, your host, Shane. Small Dick Pick Dragon.
Is it a small pick or a pick of a small dick? That's an important distinction.
She knows.
That is true. She does.
I'm sure she won't tell everyone, especially not her girlfriends.
Yes, that's how that works, right?
Yeah, none of them know.
Moral of the story, don't send those guys / boys, whoever's listening to this. Not worth it.
You know, I mean, if you send nudes to someone who is you're trying to become intimate with, you know, that's your choice. Especially if you have an established relationship. Just remember, the internet is an untamed beast.
Yep, and the internet is forever. Don't forget that.
Yes.
I don't even care if you'd use the Snapchats. There are ways.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? You're probably only going to get in trouble if you share a picture of your naked girlfriend. If you send a picture of your penis to a woman, she's going to tell as many people as possible, and you're not going to know, but everyone else will. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, that's statistically, it will probably be to make fun of you. That's just
yes.
Yeah, you need to know that.
Yes.
Also, I don't know why we're having this discussion on an edutainment game for ages like 7 to 12. That seems weird. So anyway, we should probably move on.
It can't be projection. It can't be projection.
Mm-hmm.
But as the listeners may notice, we don't have a guest this episode. We had a really awesome guest lined up. They for scheduling reasons they couldn't show up. It sucks. Hopefully in the future we'll have this person. I should do the adult thing and just block them off all social media. I think that's the mature thing to do, but I'm not a very mature person. So I hope, I look forward to getting this person on, but man, it's weird to be here without a guest. It always is nowadays, but it's also nice.
That's true.
It's nice.
We're spoiled now.
We are. We're spoiled for attention and love. Thank you, listeners. And thank you, guests. But I guess, as you said, Shane, I am just belaboring the point and burying the title of the show, which is Super Solvers Midnight Rescue. this edutainment game that you were trying to get to, which we'll be talking about shortly. That is our game du jour. But before we do that, we are going to be talking about what we have been playing lately. So Shane, what games have you been playing lately?
Well, besides this, of course, I don't know, not much. I've been trying to cycle through some more games on Google Play Pass because there's a lot of good stuff there. I think I talked about Bounty of One last episode. I think I'm still kind of taking occasional cracks at that one. There's a side-scrolling brawler called School Hero that I've installed but have yet to actually fire up and try. There's a couple other ones. There's one called Good Old Dungeon. You know what I'm realizing is that, like, if I had the time, which I don't, but if I did, I would really love to make like a first-person dungeon crawler game for mobile, because there are surprisingly few, like seriously few.
Get on it.
There's The Quest. That series is pretty good. It's very, very like much like old school, like Wizardry or like Ultima or something like that. So there's that. There's of course the actual Wizardry game, which I'm still playing. And there's like maybe at most half a dozen other ones. I think there might even be less than that. It's just really surprising because I feel like that's a super like untapped genre. And it does actually work really well on mobile, as Wizardry proves. Like swiping to move one tile at a time actually is really intuitive. So yeah, I don't know. I'll just quit my job and not deal with all my other responsibilities and become an indie game dev. That should work fine.
Let us know somewhere on the internet if you want Shane to start a Kickstarter for a mobile dungeon game.
Yeah, there you go. Let's do that, where it's we try to get the money before we've made a single thing. That'll work out real well.
You have an idea.
That's true. I'm an idea man.
Counts. Yes. Hopes and dreams. That's what you can make your game with.
I could just make a really, really great Kickstarter pitch and make it look real nice.
Yeah.
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 And then deliver a half finished game like 8 years from now.
Start it in early access and charge double full price.
Yeah, there you go. And then just never leave early access.
Yeah, never leave early access. And keep fundraising.
I think we're on to something here.
Yeah, we could do this.
Yeah. But anyway,
Gorp Dungeon, tentative name.
Ooh, yeah, there you go. But that's honestly that's pretty much it for me. I haven't really dove into much else at this time. I did fire up Castle Crashers today. Spoiler, because we're talking about that a little bit later. So that's neat. Mm-hmm. It's also kind of weird, like going back to that so many years after having played it on my Xbox 360. But yeah, I think that's kind of it. I don't know. What do you got going on?
So for the Sega Saturn thing, first of all, I need to address the patrons. I have not uploaded an episode of IO Saturnalia in a while. I'm sorry. I've been trying to kind of build up the back catalog, so I have quite a bit of runway for myself when I start putting them out there, just so there's not a big delay, and I've delayed that. So apologies to the Saturn fans, the IO Saturnalia fans. I do promise to continue this because I have been playing a couple of them in the background. Just the whole entire Persona saga delayed it quite a bit. But I did play a little bit of Sega Rally Championship. Actually played quite a bit of it. And I have thoughts about it. It's a good racing game. But I have a lot of other things that I would like to say about it, which is why it's going to be on an episode of IO Saturnalia. So there's my shill for patron content that I don't upload regularly. And then I also played and beat Croc. And I'm trying to give Shane to get that episode to the main feed when I have time to edit it. It could be out before this episode or after. I'm not sure how my timetable is going to work because time management is crazy. I don't know if I've put this in the main episode, Shane, but I have started working the regular civilian hours. I know I've said this on the stream, but I don't think I've said this on the episode. I don't know how y'all fuckers do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But welcome to everyone else's life.
It's been so long since I've recognized how important time off is. Mm-hmm. I haven't truly appreciated it until like a week ago when I was just like, it's Saturday and I don't know what to do with myself. Like free time. I'm feeling free time. What is this? I feel so free. When before I had all the free time in the world, and it was just like, free time. I'm so busy, and I don't want to do anything. Y'all, like, I love my job, but I'm realizing that, like, time doesn't exist. Just doesn't exist. It's a social structure, social construct, not structure. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but video games.
Yes.
Which don't exist in this social construct that I've put myself in. So Shane.
Yeah.
We are talking about a game that we both played as children, so I think this was something that both of us would be able to give a brief history for, but it is your turn. So, if you could, please give a brief history of our game du jour, Super Solver's Midnight Rescue.
Have we ever tackled an edutainment game? I'm pretty sure that this is a first for us. It's amusing how the edutainment genre, the noble attempt to sneak a little learning into our gaming diets, has faded into the background, despite once being both massive and, dare I say, surprisingly beloved. Back in the day, when most studios were focused purely on the fun factor, a handful of adventurous developers decided to blend gameplay with a side of educational value. These titles even found their way into computer labs at elementary and middle schools, tricking kids into learning while they thought they were just dodging villains. Enter the Super Solver series. Midnight Rescue was the debut entry launching in 1989 with the ambitious goal of sharpening vocabulary, reading, and deductive reasoning skills. The game featured more than 200 reading passages, including excerpts from notable novels, and threw over 400 possible questions at players. Because nothing says fun like multiple choice comprehension drills disguised as superhero missions. Predictably, there isn't exactly a treasure trove of reviews from the gaming press of 1989. Journalists were probably a little too busy tracking down the next big platformer to bother with vocabulary drills. Sales numbers are equally elusive, but still, for its time, Midnight Rescue and the Super Solver series chalked up a respectable level of success. Not bad for a game that got more action in school labs than on living room consoles. And that is your brief history of Super Solver's Midnight Rescue.
You know what? I don't really have much to add to the brief history at this time. I think that's going to tie into the personal experiences, really. I don't know. I don't want to demean edutainment games. I'm sure there's a documentary on some edutainment games. I'm sure there's some on like the Oregon Trail and maybe some other ones, maybe Number Munchers. But like not a lot of them get that spotlight too often. And I know that Super Solvers really hasn't, despite being somewhat, I don't know, like people seem to remember it when you bring it up, because this is how the entire like basis of us coming to making an episode about this game came up. It like came from you like asking, what was that game I played when I was a kid?
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I guess that's sort of like it's best to segue into the personal experiences we're going to get. But I mean, for me,
I just went right into it because
say for me. So I feel like I need to put the caveat in front of this that I did not play the original like DOS version of some of these games. I played the Windows sort of like remake that they did back before remasters and remakes were the hot thing. But they did remake them as CD-based games for Windows, and I played it on our family Windows 95 Compact Presario PC that I've brought up a few times on the show. I got a little bit, I'm gonna say better of an experience just because the graphics were updated, the UI was a bit improved and, modernized, I guess you could say, between DOS and Win 95. So I didn't play this exact version of it, but I did have quite a few of them. My parents, for all of their relative lack of knowledge of computers and things like that, especially at the time, which is not surprising, of course, to their credit, they had pretty good due diligence of being like, well, you know what, if he's going to be on that computer all the time, then he might as well be learning something.
Right.
You know, I unironically enjoyed playing these, like you said, like Math Munchers, like this, like all of the Super Solvers games, of course, Oregon Trail. And there was like one or two other ones I can't remember right now. But yeah, that's kind of my experience. I actually don't know if any of the schools that I went to as a kid had these. I don't recall playing them in school. I played them at home.
I don't remember exactly. It's kind of the same way that you're saying. I don't remember if I played it in school or at a friend's house. I know I played it at a friend's house because, and this was when I was in elementary school in like 3rd to 5th grade. So around the time I was like 8, 9, 10, pretty much the target demographic for this game. I think I stopped playing it by the time I was 10. I think it was more like 7 or 8. I do remember specifically playing at my friend's basement because his basement was fucking badass. That's where all the toys were. That's where the TV with the NES attached to it was. And there was a computer in there that would play Midnight Rescue. And I think it was because at the computer lab at our school, we had Apple IIs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so did we.
Yeah, I think I played it like that there, but it might have been a DOS-based computer. I didn't play it at school because he may have had a DOS-based computer, and I played that at his house. It did have exactly the same graphics, exactly like a Commodore style type of graphic setup and everything. And yeah, we unironically enjoyed playing the game. Like, we had fun with it. I would go over to his house and look forward to playing it. We enjoyed them. And I think it was the Midnight Rescue specifically. So I have some really fond memories of playing this game. Like, when you brought it up, I immediately knew what you were talking about. Like, it unlocked like this rush of nostalgia memories within me when you just started like saying, oh, you're walking around to school or something. And I'm like, yeah, that game with the guy with the ball cap. I'm like, yeah.
the Fred Durst lookalike.
Yeah. By the way, I do want to say, because we didn't say it in the brief history because there wasn't really any room for it, this was developed by Sculptured Software. I don't know if it's the same Sculptured Software that made some bigger games later, and also published by the Learning Company. There are your credits there. You may have heard of that. Did this game come out on Mac? It did come out on Mac. Yeah, so I may have played it at school. So let's get into the meat of the game, Shane. The plot and writing.
Well, I guess that's so that this is kind of an interesting like category for this game, isn't it? So writing, I mean, I feel like you got to give credit there. They definitely went like all in on the available amount of stuff that they put in to help kids learn to read through this. I mean, what did we say in the brief history? Something like 200 different text excerpts.
Yep.
I mean,
something like that. That's what they're claiming.
That's pretty impressive. I will say, though, that it seems odd that I somehow feel like I got multiple duplicates in my playthrough, but maybe I was just unlucky.
Sure. No, I got multiples too in my playthrough. I was a sadist and tried to get all the way up to champion. I didn't, which is 500,000 points. But I got up to like 270,000.
Nice.
Yeah. It's gross. I'll talk more about that later. But what I found is like the higher rank you get, the more diverse your text excerpts become. And you get less repeats.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you get some repeats within the same level. And sometimes you'll see repeats from earlier levels, but you do get, as you get higher, you see more and more different things. And when I saw you playing it on stream, and because when I was writing the brief history, and of course I was like taking care of some other stuff while you're on stream, I don't remember seeing any of the excerpts from the novels, or very few of them. And then when I was playing, I saw more from the novels. I know that, what is it? Dr. Dolittle is, there's an excerpt for that in there. And God, some other ones I can't remember, but they're novels. They're fairly well known if you see them. Not all of them are super well known. They may have been back in 1989 when this game came out and is in schools or where these people had their education, which I think was in the game came out of California. Not saying the people who made the game in California went to school in California, but these were popular novels there. And I will say this, like when it's from a novel, obviously the writing's a lot better than what was created for the game.
Well, I think that's probably why the novel excerpts probably start showing up once you get like higher up with your score, because
sure,
I think the purpose written pieces for like the in-universe, like Shady Glen town that you're in, like the newspaper articles and journals and like all that shit, I think those are a little bit more like simplistic. So I guess that makes sense that you'd start out with those and then they'd start kind of like slowly weaving in more of the like actual literary text the farther you get.
Yeah, perhaps. You still get a lot of the dumb writing and before that you get in the early stages. But the writing becomes slightly more tricky. I don't want to say insidious because that would be kind of misleading. It just gets more tricky in the sense that after a while, you start to see certain keywords that you need to know and select from that the robots wear. And we'll talk about this in gameplay, but like you pick a clue and that clue will assign an attribute to the robots so you can guess what the robots are, like which robot is the bad guy, is Morty. And you see these words and they start having a bunch of them in the same context, but you know that there's only, for most of these text excerpts, that you're going to have two questions. So for an example, leap is a clue. And pigs are a clue, and a tape recorder is a clue, and stoplights are a clue, and necklaces are. And they'll have these scattered all about in one of these text examples in 3 or 4 pages. And you're like, oh shit, which one of these words do I need to pay attention to for the question? And it starts doing that a lot more. So it's like, are you paying attention to what's being read? And yeah, are you picking out the keywords, which I think might be a bit counterintuitive, but I'm not an educational expert. But it just felt like, okay, what word am I looking for now? And it gives you a bunch of them. Mm-hmm. So it might force the player to try to look more into the context as opposed to individual words. I'm not sure, though, but that seems that might be in the intent.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think outside of that, because I know because it's a reading comprehension game, I think the writing and plot is kind of invariably bleeding into gameplay. But
yeah.
So I guess, do we want to like kind of lay the groundwork of the plot, such as it is?
Oh, you got to go find was it MM? I don't know Morty. I don't know Morty Mischief Man.
Morty Maxwell, also known as the Master of Mischief.
Master of Mischief, Morty Maxwell. He's a fan of the show. He's a fan of my openings, we'll say. But yeah, so he is taking over a school, and you got to catch him, and he's using the robots to paint the school invisible by midnight. And you got to catch him and stop him. That's it. That's the plot.
That's pretty much it. So I think the interesting thing about this, oh my God, I didn't even realize this, and I just made this connection in my head, and I hate it now. Could it be that Super Solver's Midnight Rescue is a Dark Souls like? And the reason
it's a survival horror.
Well, the reason I asked that is because like the more of the sort of like background plot and context and like expositional stuff all comes not from like big expo dumps or like an instruction manual or anything like that. It comes from the little journal excerpts and things that you find as you're playing through the game, which is kind of Dark Soulsy in that like they don't outright explain a lot of the background. You have to find it through like item descriptions and things like that. So I feel like there you go. Midnight Rescue is officially part of the Dark Souls canon.
No, it's part of the Resident Evil series.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So like we're already in gameplay, I think. So that the gameplay is, in order to discover who Morty Maxwell, the Master of Mischief is you need to take pictures of the robots that will randomly assault you.
Mm-hmm.
And you need a varying amount of pictures depending on what skill level you are. And in order to associate those pictures with some sort of evidence that shows what they are, you got to go around the school, which is a 2-story school, and the school stays the same. There's no deviation in both. And you got to go into rooms as well, because there might be clues in there, and get these clues with a little triangle on it. Read through some text excerpts. It'll ask you a question about something that was in the story or to summarize the story. And then that clue will be represented in the description of the robot. And whatever robot has the matches all 4 clues is Morty Maxwell.
Yeah, so I think that's the important point that we didn't say up front, is that the whole reason you're doing this is because he's disguised himself as one of the robots.
Yes. So this is why I say it's a Resident Evil-like. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
For the reasons you already mentioned, the background and plot exposition of Morty's rise to mischievous power and becoming an evil character is explained in little memos that you find throughout the school, like the mansion. You have limited amount of ammo, and like the robots come out and attack you like jump scares. Now you can't die. Oh, it's also in a school where everyone is gone. It's a spooky school. So it's a survival horror game. It's like Resident Evil.
You know what?
It's like Fatal Frame.
I will concede that to you. I think you might be right.
This is the prequel to Fatal Frame.
I think so. It's funny too, because you're like, oh, it chronicles his rise to mischievousness and how he becomes the evil professor looking motherfucker. I feel like somewhere in there, maybe there could have been a push to maybe feel slightly sympathetic for Morty, because like he grew up in this town and went to this school, and you find all of this out as you're reading like these journal entries from like the 1950s and 60s. And so you think that there might be some parts in there where you're just like, oh, he got like picked on and like that's sad and that turned him into who he is. But not really. Like he was actually just kind of a straight up dickbag. Like even as a kid, like he just sucked. So like there's not much redeeming factors there. He was just kind of a douche. And then he was
a massive twat.
Yeah. Yeah. And then somehow he learned how to use magic, or he was born with it, or maybe it was Maybelline. I don't know. But I mean, so he also has magical powers, and he basically is like, the reason he's doing all these nefarious things, like trying to invisible the school, seems like it's just retaliation for everybody else in the town, like shunning him kind of, and like thinking he's a weirdo twat. But he is though. So like, there's a deep metaphor here, Shane.
Okay. There's layers to Morty Maxwell in this edutainment game.
Yes. Ogres.
Yes. Yes. What's going on here is that because when you get a clue right, he tells you, congratulations, you got this right. This will help you win the game. So he's saying it's a game. He knows it's a game. He's just toying with you. So
this is Saw?
Yeah. Like I said, this is a survival horror.
Saw for kids.
I don't think he doesn't actually want to turn the school invisible. He wants you to stop him. He just wants some attention. He wants to play with you. He wants a friend. That's what they say in one of the excerpts. Like he wanted to stay a kid forever. Remember when he looked up at the sky like Peter Pan after playing Kick the Can? It was a great night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In 1968, which was like only 21 years before when this game was made. You want to know how long ago 21 years was from when we're having this discussion, Shane?
I don't. Actually,
it's not 1989.
Well, it should be.
I did the math. I figured out, like, in this game, Morty is probably 39 or 40 years old. Today, Morty would be 70.
Yeah, which is funny
75.
though, because
he'd be 75.
Oh, okay, I was say like he doesn't even. I mean, I don't know. He doesn't even look 39 or 40 in the game. He looks like he's in his 50s or 60s.
Yeah. Well, people age differently back then.
It's true. That is true. I have seen that.
Yeah. Yeah. So now he's 75 and he's old enough to be president.
Finally.
Yeah. It's about time. I do want to say this. I don't want to bleed over into the graphics yet, but I think someone made a good point in the stream. I don't remember who it was when you're playing. This actually kind of does look like they borrowed liberally from Mega Man.
Oh, with the whole, like, the fact that he basically looks like Dr. Wily.
Yes.
Yeah.
And uses robots.
Yeah. Well, it's an homage.
It's an homage.
Yeah.
By the way, the robots' names are Electro, who's electric, Pogo, who's on a mop and has one leg, of course, Rolo, who rolls around and has a roller, Turbo, who has a wheel, and Buffalo, who has a boofer that he rolls around on.
They kind of sound like...
Who's your favorite?
I say they kind of sound like names from American Gladiator.
They do indeed. Now, you didn't play on Expert, did you? Or did you go back and try?
No. I played a good solid like 2 hours on stream recently, and I managed to get myself to pro, but I did not get to expert.
I can't remember what's so I made it to expert for the most part up until pro. Up until pro, it's a pretty easy going game. You take pictures of robots. You need one picture at first, then you need two in order to unlock all their clues. You don't generally need all the film that the game gives you. You can refill your film at a film refilling station, as one would. It's pretty easy going. But then once it gets to the 4 pictures,
well, that's at pro.
The game breaks. The game completely breaks. And here's the reason why. It will keep throwing the same robot at you over and over and over again. And if you get hit by a robot, like, you don't have lives, you won't lose a life. You technically have 1 life and your score accumulates over time. That's how you get your ranking.
Right.
But like, it'll take a photo away from you. And I don't know if the film in the film distribution machine recharges over time, but it gets to a point where it stops giving you film.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have 2 options when a robot shows up. You let them run into you, which causes you to lose a film shot. You take a picture of them, which causes you to get a clue. Unless you've already taken all the pictures of them, then you just get the 50 points. Or hopefully they shoot something at you, which just causes you to lose time because you start at 9 p.m. and you only have until midnight to solve the mystery. However, if they keep throwing the same robot at you over and over and over again, you don't get clues for the other robots. And then it gets to a point where you don't have enough clues to determine who is the actual master of mischief, and you don't have any film left. And it starts getting to a point where you have a lineup of robots where all of them will have 2 of the clues that are correct, or in some cases 3. So if they have clues that are like bat, horns, comedy, and pig. So like all the robots might have bat, horns, and pig. And then you have to take enough pictures until it unlocks what they say. In that case would be comedy. But they may not unlock that until the final picture for all of them. And all of them would have like 2 or 3 of the items I already mentioned. So you're getting in a situation where you just have to guess between 2, and you don't have any photos left. You have all the clues, but you don't have everything the robots display. So you're kind of fucked. You get soft locked and you lose your score because the game won't give you film.
Yeah.
And it likes to rub it in too.
Yeah, I mean, well, because if you guess wrong, you only get 1 shot at it, and then that run is over and you get no points and you have to start again. Like, so it's pretty, I guess.
God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, exactly. So it is pretty punishing in that regard. I think, and of course we don't know this, I'm sure maybe somebody reverse engineered it. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe this wasn't popular enough for somebody to care, but I have to imagine from a programmatic standpoint that I don't think there's anything going on behind the scenes of this to sort of have the game prioritize the robots that you don't have like all of the clues for when it's like chooses what robot is going to poof into existence to chase you down. I think it feels just literally random.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you're right. There is a very real possibility that you will just not get what you needed, especially considering once you hit pro, having to take 4 photos of each of the, 5 robots,
Yes,
That's
5.
a lot.
So you need 20 shots.
Yeah, that is a lot. I didn't really, so I made it to pro and I unlocked it, but I did not actually play a level on pro because that was as far as I got in the 2 hours of the stream, but I kind of felt like I got the gist of it. But yeah, up until that point,
Put
it's
4 hours
fine.
into this.
Oh my God. I mean, comparatively, that's, the breath of fresh air when talking about Persona, but
I don't know about that.
it felt like 80 hours.
It felt longer than 4.
I mean, yeah. So up until that point, it's totally manageable. Like having to only take 2 photos per robot. Like even if you get bad RNG, you can overcome it just by like brute forcing your way through with extra film. So that's not a huge deal, but yeah, I can see how that would be problematic afterwards. Plus, other than just for the sake of saying you did it, as far as I'm aware, and as far as the internet tells me, there aren't any real like significant gameplay changes after expert. So once you like get past pro and you hit expert, like that's pretty much it. So I guess the very top, what did they call that one? Was it champion?
Champion.
Yeah.
Champion.
So I guess hitting champion is basically just bragging rights.
Showing your friends you are the super solver. Even though you're right, nothing changes. The layout of the school doesn't change. The amount of film you get doesn't really change. What the robots do doesn't change. You just have to do more of it. Yeah, it doesn't change. It doesn't fundamentally change. It just makes you do more shit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I'm kind of railing on it a little bit here, but you also got to think DOS game 1989 edutainment, like to even have like a running score total with these sort of like levels and unlockable versions of like difficulty and stuff, it is pretty cool. Like it does give it an extra bit of like a longer tail so that, if it is in a classroom or something like that, kids can get a lot more out of it for a longer amount of time than if there wasn't. Because if you didn't have that, I mean, you'd play through it once in like 15, 20 minutes and you'd be like, all right, cool. Well, that was that, I guess.
Well, yeah, I think the developers probably were assuming that once they got to pro, people wouldn't really be playing anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it took me 2 solid hours of just grinding this game to get to pro. So,
Yep. They probably weren't too concerned about the game testing once you got past expert. I imagine QA they were light on that. I have a feeling that's probably true. They're probably not going to release a patch for it anytime soon either. It's not going to happen.
Well, clearly what we need is a fan remake. Full 3D.
Yes, by the way,
for no reason.
Controls are keyboard. And boy, oh boy, are they keyboard.
I mean, they're
the
fine.
arrow keys,
it's not like the game's that complicated.
They're not bad. Yeah, because all you can do is you can jump. But whatever that helps, it doesn't.
Sure it does.
But you can, a little bit.
You can dodge over stuff.
You can. That's true. And then the monsters, I mean, the robots said monsters. The robots don't stop chasing you, by the way. So even if you jump over them, it doesn't really matter because they're going to keep chasing you. Because if you press up when you're at the stairs or in front of a door and a robot is there, you're going to jump instead of enter the room or go up the stairs.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Wait for them to do something.
Yeah, that kind of sucks having that like context aware button in that case where up on the keypad is like, well, not the keypad, literally the arrow button. Like the up arrow is interact with clue or go into a door / stairwell or also jump if it's pressed in conjunction with a left or a right key. But like you said, I definitely had a couple of instances where I was not pressing left or right, but I guess because the bot was close enough to me that pressing up just made me jump in place and then I got hit. So that's cool.
Yep. Yeah. But it's not bad. It's basic. It's as it should be for a kid's game.
Yeah. I think the challenge that from what I saw really is just trying to just getting a good sense of the length of your camera flash. So when you take a picture, it literally creates this little animation of this yellow cone of light that comes out, and that's your flash. But that also serves as effectively the hitbox for your camera. And if the bot is not within that flash zone, then you do not successfully take a picture and then make them magically disappear. The interesting thing about that is I noticed that it's not the hitbox, such as it is not exactly 1-to-1 with the Flash sprite. Like, it's actually a little bit shorter, because there were a couple of instances where I had a robot like right inside of like the end of my Flash cone, and it did not register at all.
The thing is, too, I don't know. I didn't really have that problem. Sometimes I felt like it should have given it to me. But I think most of the time, like, it's not a problem. It's just, it's a fringe.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, no. But I think getting a good sense of like being able to get a good sense of like how much distance you have, because the other thing is like timing that, because if when the bot like appears like ninja style out of nowhere,
Yeah.
you have very little time to approach them and take the photo to force them to disappear and interrupt what they're doing. Otherwise, they'll throw some shit at you or shoot something or whatever. And so like trying to get that timing down, I think that's pretty key. I also noticed that there isn't really a penalty from like repeated inputs. Like, you're not going to spam the camera because it gets locked into the animation. So what I found to be a very effective strategy for that, because sometimes if you just press the space bar to take the photo just once, it also sometimes like just doesn't register. So I just made a habit of like approaching just enough and like starting to see the animation of them starting to throw something, and then just like spam the space bar to ensure that I take the photo. And that seemed to work pretty well.
Yeah, it does. I really don't have much to add. I think that's all correct.
I mean, to be fair, I'm going way more in depth on the mechanics of this game than is probably necessary.
Probably, yes. And the spacebar was always responsive for me. I will say it was always responsive for me. No issues with any of the controls, for the most part, except when it became contextual. Then I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So there's that. I think that this is going to be a pretty short section, so I'll just wrap in graphics and music and sound, because there's not a lot of music and sound, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I think the game looks okay. I think it looks pretty good.
For the time, yeah.
Yeah, for the time, there's quite a bit of frames of animation for your character. Bebopping around. He's well designed. I don't know if this could have happened on the NES at the time. It probably could have. It probably could have. But I mean, it looks fine for 1989, a PC game, a kid's game that's not trying to do anything special. Like, I think the amount of frames of animation, like I already said, in your main character is actually quite impressive, all things considered. But beyond that, it's pretty basic, and there's not much to write home about. A little art style that you see within the school, it looks kind of goofy. You know, not a whole ton of effort, but not bad effort. Looks like someone kind of cared MS Paint art for when they try to do anything more basic than a computer. But I mean, it does. I mean, the pixel art for the most part is good.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that too. But you can definitely tell this was not a top of the line effort title for the time period. It was very of its period, and it was, the budget was to make the expectation of the audience they were making it for. I think that's appropriate.
Yeah, and that also kind of dovetails into a point that I wanted to make, that now, granted, it's maybe unsurprising there isn't a lot of information that came directly from anybody who like worked on this game, but there's a little. There's scant info out there on the internet, and what there is, one of the things that they made a note of was the character design of the protagonist, of the super solver, in that they are intentionally a faceless, raceless, largely androgynous character. And that's purposeful so that kids could feel like they could basically put themselves in the shoes of the character. So that way it's a little bit more like accessible to basically anyone, which I think is a good design choice. Plus also what they went with was, I mean, for what it's worth, it's a pretty iconic design too. Like, you've got that big blue like puffy jacket and the red ball cap and the shorts and the big fucking like Converse style shoes. Like, it is very recognizable. Iconic.
Yeah, it's with the iconic hat. You should name him Ethan.
Exactly. But I mean, I think even though the graphics are not like mind blowing, really, I mean, again, at the time for 1989, they were advanced enough that it was part of what helped the game sort of persist for longer than I think it otherwise would have in like school systems and things like that, because it took a lot longer for it to feel and look really dated than it might otherwise would have. Like, you compare something to like, OG Oregon Trail. I mean, that looks old as shit. So, I mean, comparatively, it kind of gave it a little bit of a longer tail in that regard, which I think is important, because you had a lot more like exposure over time in like school systems and things like that. So,
yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for its simplicity. I like the point you made about how the character just, it's very nondescript. Anyone can associate themselves with it. Getting into the sound sucks.
The music is so fucking annoying.
Yeah, it's classical music, so you could definitely tell they didn't want to pay anyone for it. Yeah, it just sucks. It's a typical. I'm going to say, you know what? I said this about Doom 2. I'm going to continue. I'm going to go back. I'm going to apply this to PC games pretty much made in the Sound Blaster era or whatever came out. PC game sound sucked. Just in general, it sucked. It was all bad. Like, it was all bad. I want someone to find me a game on PC that's not the PC 98, you Japanese weeb nerds, because I know about that. Oh, I know about that. Don't throw that at me. Get me an MS-DOS game with good sound.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, so baseline, no, they all fucking suck. But that's also because a lot of the time you were using like onboard system audio, because nobody was rich enough to have an actual like discrete sound card. But
hold on, Shane, you know what has onboard system audio that doesn't suck?
What? What's that?
The Nintendo Entertainment System from 1983.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Which was cheaper than these DOS computers.
I mean, listen, I'm not
understand
here
they weren't
to,
made for games.
Yeah,
but.
So I'm not here to defend the price point of fucking IBM PCs or whatever, but that's the reason. Like, and you can look it up too. There are a lot of this era games where there are like YouTube video comparisons of what the audio sounds like on different sound chips or sound cards rather. And it is starkly different depending on what you had at the time. So yeah, but I mean, the majority of us I didn't have a fucking discrete sound card in my family PC. So you got to enjoy that shitty onboard audio.
They were like the graphic cards of the day, weren't they?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, like you could get like a MIDI upgrade, but it'd be something like $500 or some nonsensical shit.
Yeah, they were pretty expensive.
Yeah. Like $500 in 89 money.
Yeah, which is why nobody had one.
Exactly. But I can listen to MIDI and play my battle chess with great sound.
Hey man, battle chess was pretty sweet.
It is pretty sweet. We're not making a promise, Keaton.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, there's not really a whole lot to talk about. Like, because there's some sound effects and they're about what you'd expect.
They're shrill and they're ear tearing.
Yeah.
There.
Sound is not this game's forte. Let's just say that.
Far from it. All right. What is our forte, though, are our patrons. And our patrons have provided pontifications for this episode. We do have some. I'm shocked we had more than one.
Yeah.
Considering some better known games have had less comments. So thank you, patrons. I do appreciate it. If you want to provide a pontification, all you got to do is join our Patreon, which starts as low as $1 a month. Then join our Discord and go to the Patreon pontification section where we tell you what game's coming up and you let us know. I also post something in Patreon itself in case you don't want to join our Discord. I don't know why you wouldn't, but in case you don't, it's right there. And you can put your thoughts about the game du jour there, and I will read it here for the show. So all of the comments I have this week are from Discord. And starting out with Keith, who is the host, the best host from the Main Quest podcast. And Keith says, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to guess this was before the Acclaim acquisition, because Acclaim wasn't in the business of teaching anyone anything. Thank you, Keith. I don't know what you're talking about.
So did Acclaim acquire Learning Company? I didn't think they did.
I don't think so.
They did get acquired, but I don't think it was Acclaim. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Lefko, of the Afterglow podcast, who saith, "Dost thou knowest 'twas Dragon Warrior on ye olden Nintendo Entertainment System what taught Lethko reading? But thou must." Thank you, Lethko.
A slime approaches. Next is Alt. I'm going to have something to say to Alt after this comment because I've read this before. I'm not sure what triggered this game being picked. Maybe it was popular in America back in the day. The learning games I personally grew up with were the Reader Rabbit series, the Magic School Bus series, Pink Panther Passport to Peril. That game is a fan of our show. And the humongous entertainment games like Putt Putt Goes to the Zoo games. It got triggered being picked because this was the game that we played growing up. Alt. There you go. And this episode was probably going to be bigger with the guests we originally had on too. So that was another thing that was helping. But anyway, Shane.
Yeah. Next up, we've got the one and only Randall, who says, "If you navigated those grids, finding numbers or words, and helped those super solvers with all their nerdy herds, if you remember Morty Max or the Master of Mischief's vile plan, then sorry to break it to you, old friend, you're officially an ancient creaky man." Thank you for reminding us of that, Randall. I appreciate that.
Oh, we still haven't mentioned the Pink Suede's Koochy.
Well, I mean, it's the title of the episode, but yeah, you're right. We never actually mentioned it.
Well, now you got to listen to the entirety of the episode to understand. There's a passage in the game where they're talking about a pink suede Koochy. You know what? I have to think that developers were perverts.
I mean, there you go. Also, I guess that is a good point that we've gotten all the way to the end and never mentioned it. So people are probably real fucking confused about why that's the subtitle for this game.
Why are they talking about pink suede Koochy? It's a clue, assholes.
It's a raging clue.
A raging clue about big suede pink Koochy. Anyway, on to Sega Boy 7, who says, "I remember loving Midnight Rescue when I was but a wee lad. Though what I love about it is most likely the fact I would be playing it instead of learning how to do home row in computer class. I think maybe homework."
No, home row is like when you are, it's the finger placement for doing proper typing.
Oh, okay. Got
Yeah.
it. Home row. Yes. Now, okay. Got it. Thank you, Sega Boy 7. And by the way, Sega Boy 7 and Alt, I'm pretty sure the two of you are from the same country. So
you guys need to figure your shit out.
Yeah. So one was like, it's popular in America, and the other one's like, I remember playing this. Okay. So apparently it was in both of your countries. Alt. That's why it triggered us playing this game. You're awesome, Alt. We love you. All right. Now we're going to talk about whether or not this game holds up today. Shane, which one of us is going first?
I mean, I can go first. That's fine.
Okay.
No, man. Like, this is very much a nostalgia episode, if for nothing else. Like,
yeah.
Can you go back and play it pretty easily? Actually, surprisingly, yes. The DOS version, which is of course the one we're actually talking about here, because it is it runs in DOSBox. It is very lightweight, and therefore it can be emulated inside of a browser. So there are several websites out there where you can just fire up an instance of DOSBox and play this game, which is exactly what I did in order to play it. So it's easy to get to, but also if you don't have any of the nostalgia for it, there's like zero reason to spend your time playing this game, really. Like, I mean, it's charming in its like quirky little way, but I mean, there's not really a lot going for it. And if for some reason you have this like burning desire to play an edutainment game, there are also a lot better alternatives. Even, I mean, I would recommend the CD based upgraded versions of these games, but that's actually like damn near impossible to play these days because they are not easily emulated like the DOS versions. And the Learning Company or whoever owns the IP at this point have done nothing with these whatsoever. So you can't get it anywhere.
Surprise.
You can find the ISO for the disc online because it's effectively abandonware at this point. But you would have to go through the whole process of like setting up a virtual environment on your PC to run an instance of like Windows 95 and install the game on a virtual machine in order to play it. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the vast majority of people are not gonna fuck around that much to play an ancient reading game for like 7 to 12-year-olds. So
No.
So no, not really, but it was fun to talk about. For us, it was a good, jaunt down memory lane, but I think it's probably best just kind of left there.
So, I mean, you're not wrong. And what I'm going to open this up with is this game is designed for like 6, 7, 8-year-olds. Am I a 6, 7, or 8-year-old? No, I'm a 40-year-old man. So I appreciated the value of what this game was trying to accomplish. However, it's not something that I probably would say is a great game and would highly appeal to me. It is playable. It is highly playable.
Sure.
It is put together. It is competently made, but it does not appeal to me. However, I have to think, am I being fair? Would this today appeal to a 6, 7, or 8-year-old? No. They would not want to play this. They would probably avoid it. Not because it is a bad game, and we played this back then and we liked it, but today, 6, 7, and 8-year-olds, I think there are far better products, even in the edutainment sphere, even if they're, arguably more toxic and corrosive to an attention span. I think that this game does not hold up for a variety of reasons. Because like there's no audience for it now other than what Shane said, purely based off nostalgia. And even if you're trying to give it to the audience today that it was trying to target back then, they wouldn't know half of the things that the game is talking about. They'd be like modem, payphone, tape recorder.
What
is
true.
This game talking about? Again, it's a game very much of its time, appealing to a demographic that was living within its time, and that demographic has now grown up and does not want to play it, and I wouldn't expect them to, and the demographic that it would have appealed to, it just would not appeal to in general. So no, it has not held up, but as Shane said, it was great to talk about, great to reminisce about, great to relive that nostalgia, and I did not mind playing it. I got some enjoyment out of it, so I will say that. But no, you should not go out of your way to play this unless you did when you were a kid, because then you will get something. But no, that's it, Shane. That's all I got.
All right. Well, there you have it, to all 12 of you who decided to listen to this episode. I'm sure. We hope you enjoyed it. I mean, who knows? This is one of those ones where it's such a deep cut that maybe it'll bring in, new listeners who are like, oh my God, someone's actually talking about this thing. So you never know. And if you happen to be one of those people, we'd like to welcome you, and we hope you enjoyed your stay. And if you didn't happen to notice, we have got an absolute truckload of episodes for you to listen to. There are at least a couple intrepid patrons of ours that I know of who either have or are in the process of going back and like grinding their way through our entire backlog, which is not necessarily advised, but impressive. And I will give that to them.
I agree.
So if you want to do that, there's plenty of content for you. And we also have our Patreon with a bunch of extra bonus content that is typically not available on the main feed, as well as our merch store. And let's see, we've got socials that we kind of maybe use. They are technically still active. And we also have a Twitch channel as well as a YouTube channel. So we got all those things, and they're all in one place. So please head on over to our link tree at linktr.ee/retro-hangover. And all the things are right there. Chris.
Yeah.
Anything that you want to add?
I mean, we stream. We talked about this stream that this episode would have covered. Shane played this game for a stream. And if you want to be part of those streams, head on over to YouTube or twitch.tv/retro hangover and watch us stream there Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern time. and you can discuss all sorts of things, like what was your favorite childhood game? And what do you remember? And how stupid are Chris and Shane for playing a game that you haven't heard of? You could ask us all these questions, and we look forward to it. So that's all I have.
All right. Well, in that case, with all of that having been said, until next time.
Play with your soft, suede Koochy joysticks.
Shane here with a quick message. You know, the one rule Chris and I have always gone by regarding advertisements is this. It has to be something we use and can personally vouch for. If you know me, you know I love coffee. And Bones Coffee Company has been my go-to for home brewing for quite some time now. Their small batch beans come in an impressive variety of flavors like Mint Invaders from Chocolate Space, or Electric Unicorn, which I swear tastes exactly like Fruity Pebbles. And the best part? No added sugar or calories involved, just natural flavors infused right into the beans themselves. Build your own sample pack of 5 4-ounce bags to find out which flavors speak to you, or jump in head first with full 12-ounce bags. They've even got K-Cups. Step up your homebrew game with Bones Coffee by visiting bit.ly/RHPBones. That's bit.ly/RHPBONES.